right, hello there. Happy Halloween. So I'm filming this on the evening of Halloween after going out and doing a little Halloween stuff myself. Went to some bar where they had, well, it was like a bar for dogs, but they had dogs that dressed up and people dressed up, and there were like contests and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm here now filming this, and I kind of wanted to do something like really quick and really fun that, if you're not doing much, you're at home and you're looking to commemorate Halloween somehow, this could be a quick little exercise. Maybe a little introspection with this exercise. So yeah, I'm calling this The Ghosts That Haunt Me. I took this from an exercise that I found online. I kind of adapted it with various questions that you can journal if you wanted to go a little bit more in depth on it. But if not, it's perfectly fine to keep it simple. I am kind of doing this as I go and elaborating with various components here. So yeah, just bear with me. It's just an experiment. You can try it, see if it's something you want to do. Annually, I kind of take this exercise out and I do it. Essentially, we're going to go ahead and grab a deck of tarot cards. I'm using the Blue Tarot because, yeah, it's definitely a recent fave of mine. And it's kind of the perfect tarot deck for this exercise, The Ghosts That Haunt Me, right? So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle this, and I'll mute the volume while I do this, just in case it's too loud for your ears. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and shuffle this with the intention that I would like to identify the ghosts that haunt me this year. Okay, so in doing that, I've identified some ghosts that haunt me this year. First up, we have the Six of Swords. The way I would interpret this, typically the key word is escape. Interestingly enough, you see these ghosts here, almost like the ghosts that we carry from our past. We are trying to escape the ghosts from our past, escape the baggage with us. As you can see, these two ghosts have no baggage here, and they are being carried away by an overseer. Interestingly enough, the overseer is a skeleton, which, the way I would interpret this is kind of like escaping death, but more of a metaphorical death, a death and rebirth process of moving forward. There's like a cemetery here, but technically not moving in the direction of the cemetery, but escaping death, or a metaphorical death, towards the horizon, and here we see them embracing for the journey ahead, and they don't have much in their possession, but they are learning to let the past go. And so this is a ghost that would haunt me. Now what's cool is, as we go, you can go ahead and name your ghosts. So you're going to name the ghost that haunts you, and you can create like a spread like this with a sheet of paper underneath and write it on the sheet of paper. Also, you can have like a separate journal, which I have here, that I can go ahead and write that down. So with the Six of Swords, I would probably name this ghost, well, something along the lines of escaping past baggage onto new horizons, but we'll just call this ghost escapist. Okay, so the next ghost up that haunts me, the tower in reverse. So usually the tower is seen as like a deconstruction phase, and interestingly enough, we have the ghosts here who are kind of making this deconstruction happen. And you see this ghost winking, holding matches. This ghost has a match on fire, and the tower is on fire, and it's kind of releasing some ghosts. And the way I kind of see this is like how an earthquake occurs. You know, it's usually two plates rubbing against each other, releasing some sort of pressure. So in this light, I see this as kind of a release. The deconstruction is to release. But since we have it in the reverse position, I would see this as holding back from letting that process happen. So not allowing this deconstruction phase, not allowing the release that comes from deconstructing and rebuilding. So that's how I would see this. And maybe my ghost would be some sort of resistance to like chaos or change or deconstruction. So I would name my ghost that. Okay, the third ghost that came up for me is Ten of Cups reversed. So Ten of Cups is usually kind of, I see this as like the ideal and emotional fulfillment. So attaining that idealistic emotional fulfillment in life, like a full heart. But because we see it in the reverse, I'm gonna guess that this is more of like not allowing us to be open to and embracing what is here, which is the Ten of Cups. So it's kind of also resisting, but resistance to embracing heart or emotional fulfillment. So it's there, but we are resisting it. Now you can come up with cutesy names for your ghosts, which could, you know, make it more interesting. It's a little difficult because I'm doing it as I go, but if I was to do this without filming this, then I would probably try to come up with one name for the ghost. Okay, so the fourth and final ghost that came up for me is the Page of Swords. Now this Page of Swords looks very happy to be a Page of Swords. And so it's kind of like embracing the student and using the mind to pursue more intellectual goals that I currently have. And so the ghost that haunts me is this pursuit of intellectual growth. Now your ghosts don't necessarily have to be negative or bad things. You know, they can be very positive things. You know, we can have like an ambition to attain something or to grow in a certain area or to move to the next goal. And that could be the ghost that haunts you. It's not necessarily a bad thing. We think of Casper the Friendly Ghost. I just saw that movie the other day. And he was so intent and so focused on making friends. But it was coming from a place of loneliness and fear and lack that sometimes his eagerness would drive away potential friendships. His ghost might be kind of that eagerness to connect and make friendships, but so much so that it actually scares people away. So then, you know, being mindful of that balance. And so this is the same thing here. There's like an eagerness to pursue my current intellectual goals. also to be mindful that, like we see his hat here coming off the top of his head and a feather leaving that. So it's like, you know, just be mindful that set limits. Don't allow your head to get so big that your hat no longer fits. I mean, you can see this many different ways. So yeah, so the four ghosts that currently haunt me is the ghost of escapism, the ghost of resistance to chaos or change or deconstruction phase, the resistance to embracing my own heart or my emotional fulfillment that is currently present, but I am getting in my own way of seeing and acknowledging that. And the fourth ghost that haunts me is my pursuit of intellectual growth, which could also be blocking me, you know, from maybe focusing on this emotional fulfillment here. You know, my pursuit of intellectual growth could also be getting in the way of an area that needs change, or like a different area that needs change in a different avenue, maybe concerning my heart rather than my mind. Also, maybe some of these anxieties here might be contributing to this escapism mindset, which is not always a bad thing. Maybe some leaving behind past ghosts is necessary to move forward, but also recognizing how these insecurities or anxieties here could be contributing to this energy, and this energy here could be causing blockages from accessing this energy. So some questions, some follow-up questions that you can ask, or just for journaling if you want to. I have this dice here that came with my charm set, and the charm set is by Carrie Paris, Fortuna's Casting Oracle, which I picked up through the Northwest Tarot Symposium. And this dice has what, when, where, why, how. And I do have a question for this exercise for each item on this dice. So we're going to go ahead and roll that. And the first prompt that comes up is what. So my question for what is, what would life be like if you had laid your ghost to rest for good? So what would your life be like if you had laid your ghost to rest for good? Another what question you can use is, what about these ghosts concern you? So we kind of already analyzed, you know, like what each of these ghosts mean and how they show up in my life. So to ask the question, what about this ghost concerns you? We kind of already answered that. A third question that falls in the what category is, what is the purpose of this ghost in your life at this time? So what purpose are these ghosts serving? Are these ghosts protecting you from furthering some sort of deeper intimacy in your relationship with yourself or with others? Is this ghost not allowing a deconstruction phase of beliefs and letting go of the past in order to reach emotional fulfillment? So how does each ghost show up in your life, and what purpose is it serving? And even kind of how they might communicate with each other. So if we wanted to roll this dice again, the next one that comes up is who. I think I'm going to use my Compendium of Witches Oracle here to answer this. So who would I be if these ghosts were no longer present in my life? Oops. Okay, so the card that came up is the Alchemist. So the Alchemist, the first light of dawn shines on her desk. Mortars, alembics, measuring tools, and parchments lie scattered in front of her, in a beautiful chaos that speaks of a quest for harmony. The Alchemist represents our research into inner workings, the desire for a thorough understanding of the mechanisms that lie underneath. The clear awareness that nothing exists in isolation prompts her to focus on interconnections. As above, so below. The alchemist searches for the macrocosm in the microcosm. So interesting. So that would be one way that I can answer a question like, who would I be if I had laid these ghosts to rest? So moving on, where? So for this next part, I'm going to show you how I can use charm casting to answer this next question of where. So where in my life do these ghosts show up? All right, so this is a money bag here. And so I know that I have some pretty, I want to say, rigid beliefs concerning money, that it is an area that I try to over control out of fear. So I want to say that, and this would be accurate in my life. So I have money bags here, and then I also have this $100 bill in reverse. So I want to say that to attain emotional fulfillment, I allow my beliefs and maybe my kind of restrictive beliefs about money get in the way of my emotional fulfillment with my partner, and even with my own self, to kind of have that mental security, emotional security, psychological security surrounding money. Okay, so the other thing I see here is a shovel, and I see that with the escapist ghost. And I think what's cool is there was a period of time where I began gardening as a way to kind of lift myself out of a funk. And the thing about gardening is often when you're gardening, well, me specifically, I'm not really think of anything else. So I like to think of this as digging myself out of, the past, or out of the things that hold me, and kind of letting go of also letting go of, sometimes, we plant things in our garden and they die, and, you can only try so hard to keep that plant alive that it's just not meant to be there. So we must let it go and go without. So that's how I see the shovel here. And so that would be a way that you can kind of use charm casting to enhance your reading. This one here is karma. And interestingly enough, it is upside down along with the tower. And also we have a hand that is up this way as like an offering. And then we also have a bell. Something about offering, and I want to say this bell represents a call of some sort. So I think I'm kind of at the point in my life where I will be offering or giving some support or help to others and answering the call. And that will help me go through this process of resetting karma and being okay and content with deconstruction. The last charm I see here is this beetle, looks like a scarab beetle. I'm not too familiar with the scarab beetle. So because I'm not familiar with the scarab beetle, I think, again, I'll turn to my oracle. Okay, so sorry for the interruption. Interestingly enough, this bell here, there was a fire alarm that was making the beeping noise, I think because the battery is going dead. And so what's interesting to me about that is that I had to get a ladder and take down the fire alarm and take the battery out. And so we can also see this tower here, or this resistance to chaos or change, can also just be in the upright position. We saw two people making the tower moment happen. But almost like the ghosts who were escaping did not have any control. But in the reverse position, just like I got the ladder to take out the battery out of the fire alarm, this is indicating that basically I do have the ability to rectify situations. And I think this kind of plays into the scarab beetle here. It's like I can restore the tower that occurred. I can, not that I have the power, I'm in control of avoiding towers or when towers happen, but just like I have the ability to set the tower on fire myself, I have the ability to choose to not set the tower on fire myself, if that makes sense. So that was pretty interesting. And to clarify the scarab beetle, I had pulled a tool from the Compendium of Witches Oracle, and I got the sickle here. The keywords we have here is harvest, results, and reward. In being able to kind of have an agency in choosing not to create a tower where a tower is not going to likely occur unless I was to do it myself, then out can come rewards. We can write this 10 of Cups and embrace with contentment in that joy of emotional fulfillment and growth. Yeah, so that is another way that you can use charms to kind of clarify this exercise. So just some other questions before I finish up here that you can ask. If you wanted to ask like a how question, so a good question might be, how would you know the ghost is gone? So how would I know that these ghosts are gone? So how would my life look if these ghosts were no longer present? I would bask in love and emotional fulfillment and feel secure being in that energy. I would know that I have the agency to not avoid things I can't control, but of the things I can control, avoid setting them on fire. I know that I would maybe not feel a need to escape my reality, but also know that sometimes it is good to kind of assess what needs to be let go or left behind. And then maybe also, how would I know the ghost is gone? Because I would be pursuing the things that mean the most to me, that matter the most to me. And I would have, I would be ready to be open to additional growth from that process. So that would be like a how question, a what question that you can ask or journal. What would life be like if you laid your ghost to rest for good? What would be different? A good when question. When does the ghost get out of control? So identify, when are you more likely to kind of have this escapism energy, and when are you likely to act on that? Or when do you feel like you need to act on that? Also, for when does the ghost get out of control? So when do I fall into this energy of setting the tower on fire for myself? Or when do I have resistance to change? When do I feel myself pulling back from fully feeling this loving energy? Is it, when money is kind of a component, a variable that offsets that? Is it a fear of living, a fear of harming, that, I'm afraid that I'll create this negative karma for myself? So those are all good questions to answer when. Yeah, I think that's good. I wanted this to be kind of short and brief that you could do really quick before Halloween is over. And I like to take this exercise out almost every year, but I do it differently every year. Before, I used to always just name the ghost off the top of my head and journal. And then I started pulling cards to answer it. And actually the cards do really reflect the ghost that I originally would have picked from the top of my head and name. And then what's cool is, you know, if you want to layer it with additional like oracles or charm casting, you can do that to kind of clarify. You can use maybe like an oracle with an archetypes, so that you can see like, who am I, you know, when I'm engaging with this ghost versus this ghost. You could do it like that. Who would I be if I laid these ghosts to rest? You can do it like that. I mean, it's so versatile. You can do it any which way you want. And yeah, I hope this exercise kind of provides some like something to chew on, to go deeper, do a little introspection. It's a fun way to kind of like name our fears and anxieties and look at them objectively. And I definitely hope that this is something that could really illuminate. If you don't mind, you can write in the comment section, you know, what your ghosts were, what you named them, or any discoveries from this exercise. Even if you did it, liked it, didn't like it, you know, what worked, what didn't work for you, that'd be cool. But yeah, happy Halloween. Till the next video. Bye.